Hey guys, Razor Blade Apple Films here, and today we're going to be doing a review on the Kershaw Emerson CQC-4K, and this is the blackwash version. Can't seem to stay away from these knives. If you watched my previous review on a Kershaw Emerson, I did a review on the 4K XL, and I was kind of disappointed by that knife. But in my opinion, this knife is actually surprisingly pretty high quality. Same basic materials as the other one, except there's one main difference, and I'll show you that later. And I guess you can say, like, this is the original version, so the size is an improvement. The other one was the XL, so, you know, going into it, you know it's going to be big. But it was really big, and this one is more like a usable, realistic size, and it fits my hands really well. It feels great in hand, the ergonomics. It's not really filling, actually, but you know, it doesn't really fill the palm of your hand like a bigger knife, but you know, that's probably just because of its size. But you know, there's no hot spots like where the finger would ride. I know in most like Emerson design knives there'd be like finger grooves and stuff, but I just like this like plain simple handle. So the ergonomics are fine. Blade steel is HCR13 MOV, and you know, that performs just as well as you need it to, like for a pocket knife, especially one that was around $23. Blade HQ has this model for $23, and I think that's a steal, you know. You get a cool Emerson design knife, and this one has a lot more quality than the other ones I've handled. Pocket clip has great retention. It's got the Emerson skull on there. You know, I can't even like bend it back, but it slides in really easily because of the aluminum scales right here. It's got a blackwash finish, and I really love the blackwash finish. It's one of my favorite finishes. I wish the real Emerson knives would use the blackwash. Yeah, and I've been really craving an Emerson knife, like a real Emerson knife, the last couple of weeks, I guess, for some reason. I don't know why, and I guess I got just one of these to hold me over. My girlfriend actually gave me this knife because I said that I really wanted a, you know, Kershaw Emerson again, and like I said, I've been, you know, pleasantly surprised to see how this one performs and how big of an improvement it is over the other one. Just real fast, I want to throw in a comparison between this and the Kershaw Leak Blackwash. This isn't actually my knife; it's my dad's knife. I love the blade shape of the Kershaw Leak, but I just can't get over the speed safe. I'd like manually opening knives, and you know, when that torsion bar breaks, it's going to be pretty much just useless. Well, I mean, you can send it back in and get it fixed again, but I just don't like the knife that much to do that. But I do really, really love the blade shape. I wish they'd use that on like a... Basically, if they put one of those blade shapes on this type of handle, you know, a manually open knife with G10, like that would be like one of my favorite knives. But either way, just wanted to show you that the blade finish on this one is a lot more scratched up, and you can see more like heavy lines in it than this one. Probably just because of the different types of steel and the different types of coating. You know, but they are a little different. This one's a little bit more subtle. That one actually looks a little bit more like a Stonewash, like a heavy Stonewash. This one in the, you know, right light doesn't even really look like a blackwash. Kind of just looks like a dark gunmetal gray. And then when you get close, you can kind of see. So just trying to get more of a, you know, better view on that finish. Like I said, you get HCR13 MOV, which is really, really easy to sharpen, and it came really sharp. I was really surprised at how sharp it came. Probably one of the sharpest Kershaws I've had. Hollow ground. You can see that tip is very thin. Haven't been a problem yet. Hasn't been a problem yet. Sorry. Normal hardware. You got like normal Phillips head screwdrivers and flathead screwdrivers just to, you know, adjust the pivot. I haven't had to adjust the pivot. Came pretty well centered from factory. I know my CQC-5K, which I like that knife a lot, but you know, it just kind of felt like poor quality. Didn't pass the spine whack test, and for me personally, the spine whack test is a must. It has to pass that, or it just shakes my confidence in the knife. I don't want to use it, because if I accidentally hit the spine, while using it, I'm gonna lose fingers. But what was I talking about? Yeah, came pretty centered, and the other one I had didn't. The 5K rubbed up against the liner after a while, and I had to keep constantly adjusting the pivot. This one seems, it hasn't had to be readjusted yet. Thumb disc. If you're like one of my the people like me who like flicks this knife over and over when you first get it, trying to loosen it up, and also just because you like doing it, this thumb disc is very textured, which provides great grip, and there's a little bit of a cutout right there that doesn't. It could be deeper, but it's a smaller knife. They can't really make it much deeper, but you have plenty of access to it. And I'm able to flick it out like really easily. But yeah, that kind of can wear on your thumb after a little while. Frame lock's pretty easy to get to. Lockup's great. That's what it looks like. It's about 50% on there, which is pretty much perfect. It is able to be flicked open really easily when you're not using the Emerson Wave feature. G10, pretty grippy actually. If somehow it feels grippier than my XL version that I had. And here is a comparison with another Kershaw G10. It's kind of similar to the Kershaw Chill. I'd say it's a little bit grippier. Kind of feels about like a Spyderco Tenacious. I don't have one of those right now to compare it to, though. So, a really cool blade shape. I'm glad she picked out this one because, like I said, when I looked at all of them, I really liked the looks of this one. The spear point, the big finger guard, but the still simple handles. Like, this is one of the coolest looking ones, but I didn't like the XL because it failed the spine whack test. Kind of had some quality issues. The G10 was all scratched up when I got it, and it wasn't sharpened that well. The tip wasn't that sharp. I don't know. Just kind of felt like a $20 knife. This one actually feels like, after using it a lot, I'd pay probably $45, maybe $50 for this. Feels like a great deal you're getting. And when you get this knife, it also comes with a black tactical pin. Not going to be doing really a review on this, but they say it's black washed. It looks like just like a normal black pin that they just scraped the edges off, because like the edges are the only things that show any wear, so it just kind of looks like beat up. So I kind of wish they would just left it all black and had that wear put on naturally. Got some, I guess these are like lanyard holes or something in case you wanted to like thread something through that maybe. I don't know. And there's a little breaker on the end. I don't know anything about this pin. I didn't really get it for the pin, but maybe you're able to break some glass or skulls or something with that. I don't know. It is able to be rescrewed. You can unscrew the cap, take it apart, fill more ink in it, and then you just screw it to release the ballpoint pen. To do a quick writing test. It does come out kind of smoothly. I don't know how to review a pen, but yeah, black ink seems to be a decent quality pen. So that's kind of something cool that's added, if you like that. Came in a plastic package as opposed to a box, unlike my other Kershaw Emersons, which is something randomly to take notice of. Don't have full flow-through construction. You have a little backspacer like some of the real Emersons do. I don't really like that. I think standoffs would be cooler, but shouldn't be too hard to clean. It's not that shallow, and I mean it's pretty shallow in there. You could, what's the word? A Q-tip could easily go in there, clean it, as well as these parts. I put a little bit of Benchmade blue lube in the pivot after I got it. It came out really smoothly, and it wasn't that smooth from factory, but it can be fixed really easily even without adjusting the pivot. So just work in the knife or put some grease or lube in the pivot and it'll make it a little bit smoother. Alright, let's go to some size comparisons. So, Let's put this knife down in the center. Here it is next to a Kershaw leak. You know, a bigger handle, you're going to have a more comfortable grip, something to hold on to a little bit more, and you're getting about the same cutting edge. Actually, let's see. Actually, you're getting like a little bit more cutting edge. So, actually a pretty bigger knife. Here it is next to a Kershaw Chill. Let's just leave that in shot. So there it is next to some Kershaw knives. Kershaw Chill is the only Kershaw I've ever kept, mainly because I feel like they don't really do their locks that well. I feel like their locks aren't that reliable. Locks that other knife companies do better, like a Rat 1, Spyderco Tenacious, Spyderco Sage, have all passed the spine whack test with a liner lock. And all my Kershaws with liner locks have pretty much failed. So, it's like I wish their lockup was a little bit more reliable. Frame lock on this one, haven't spine whacked a Kershaw leak, but this is my dad, so I won't do that. But frame lock failed even on my XL, which I've talked about earlier. And didn't really like that, so that's why I ended up selling it and calling it an okay knife. So there it is next to my Kershaws. Like I said, the Kershaw Chill didn't actually do that. This liner lock's pretty well made for a cheaper gentleman carry knife. Here it is next to a more tactical knife, well, a complete tactical knife. There it is next to a Spyderco Matriarch. And let's put it next to a Boker Kalashnikov. Might do a review on this. Really high quality knife, but I'm just not really liking the looks of it. And I might sell it for that reason, but let me know if you want me to review it. Actually pretty comparable in size to a Boker Kalashnikov. And that was the full-size version. And let's put it next to a Griptilian, full-size Griptilian. And lastly, let's put it next to a Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Most people have this knife. If you don't, I would definitely recommend a Paramilitary 2 after all the ones I just showed you. One last quick thing to talk about. Knife is a little bit heavy. I don't know the exact weight. You can definitely feel it in your pocket. It's heavier than I thought it would be, I guess because of the metal, but yeah, you can definitely feel it in your pocket for such a little knife. But because of that, it actually kind of feels pretty high quality, so I don't know. I'm just liking this knife a lot more than the others that I've had, and I might try to get some other ones, but, I also do want to get a real Emerson. If you have any suggestions on what to get as far as the real Emersons go, leave that in the comments. I've been reading about forums and everything on what people's favorite Emerson knives are. If you have any experience with Emerson knives, please leave that in the comments. Quick sharpness demo. Haven't sharpened it in like 2 weeks, and haven't really needed to. It holds up better than you'd expect for a lower quality steel. Very sharp still. And I've been using it. I don't use my knives as much as some knife reviewers like go out and hard use their knives, carving wood and everything like that. And haven't really done anything like that with it yet. But I haven't sharpened it in about 2 weeks. I've been using it, I'd say, daily with light EDC tasks, and it's still razor sharp. So, kind of a little tiny bit of a thicker blade, more than you'd expect, but it slices really well. It doesn't really need a full flat grind to slice and get some really good results. Been even using it for food prep, and it's sliced pretty well. I'll show some of that later. Hit the camera. Yeah, it goes through string and everything really well. Let's see. Let's go through this nylon belt. See how easy you can do that. Because of the shorter blade length, might restrict you in some situations, but it does cover a pretty thick belt. So it made a pretty clean cut, and it actually had to get through some cardboard or something that was in there. So, you know, this knife cuts really well. Really surprised. Not surprised, I'm just kind of, I don't know. I really like this knife. It's a great deal for the money. I mean, it's a great knife for the money. It's a great deal overall. Let's see. I'll get some, used it actually last night to pry open a acetone can. Gonna need to move my camera back a bit for this. And this is a really thin tip, and it is a softer steel, so on my Kershaw Chill, when I shoved it into a piece of wood, it actually bent the steel. And this one seems to be fine. So even light prying tasks, I say, would be okay for this knife. It doesn't bend. You know, if you're not, you know, abusing it, it should be fine. All right, so here is how the knife will ride in the pocket. It doesn't go really deep because of probably because of the wave feature. I know a lot of Emersons, they stick out a lot. So I would prefer a deep carry pocket clip, but, you know, at least it gives you something to hold on to when you're trying to do the Emerson wave. In order to do that, you're going to have to just pull pretty much backwards and outwards at the same time. It should do it every time. I haven't had it fail yet. Alright, moment of truth, spine whack test. So, seems to be holding up pretty well. Thankfully, it didn't fail. Let's do that on a little harder surface. So the lock seems to be very reliable on this knife, and that makes the knife just so much more special to me. Just a quick stab test, because it's a tactical knife. It is marketed as that because it has an Emerson design, and Emerson claims he makes weapons first. So here is a stab test on a hard piece of wood. Alright, steel seems to have held up. It's not bent or anything. Wore off a tiny bit of the coating at the tip. I don't know if you can see that. Thought this would be an interesting test. Here's a real deer skull, and I just use a pin on it. Kind of keep forgetting to show this. You know, when you order this knife, I'd say definitely order it for the knife. The pin's an added bonus, but you know, not really much to say about it. Well, it's a pretty big dent. Definitely wouldn't want to be hit with it. Actually, I have like a surprisingly better grip than I anticipated. Don't know how well you could see it, but in that last shot, got some pretty thin slices on that cheese. As long as you're using this length and up, it slices well on food prep. But as you can see on that apple, you know, it's kind of a shorter blade length, and it was hindering it because you can only use this portion, because when it hit this thumb disc, it kind of messed everything up. Didn't really make a perfect slice because it caught the thumb disc. But that thumb disc is pretty cool for opening it. I have no problems using it. And I think it actually even looks a little bit cooler than a thumb stud. Wave feature also doubles as a, thumb ramp. So, your thumb rides up there pretty well. Jimping's not really, actually, it looks kind of round, but because the edges are kind of not finished well, it actually makes it a little bit grippy. No other jimping throughout, though. But, yeah, that does act as a thumb ramp. So, overall, I'm really happy with the knife. I'm definitely going to keep it. It's got a place in my collection. Could it be used in a tactical situation in a pinch? Yeah, I think it could be. Frame lock passed the test. It's got a pretty good cutting edge for the knife. It stabs really well with that spear point. Handles are pretty grippy. It's got a huge, finger choil right there, so your hand's not going to slip forward on the blade. I don't know. I just like the knife a lot. It's very useful in a lot of different ways. I was actually carving my initials onto a block of wood with the tip of it, and tip held up along with cutting and performing really well. I know I just said earlier in the review I don't go out and carve wood with it, but I was carving something onto a piece of wood, and it did really well. It wasn't like a, you'd probably think of, I guess a Warncliffe would probably be an ideal shape. It's pretty cold out here, so I'm going to stop rambling. Overall, I think this is just a great knife for the money. It does everything you need it to do. It's got a reliable locking mechanism, really cool look. Blade sharpens up really easily. Feels way more high quality than it is. So if you were going to get any of the Kershaw Emersons, I would definitely recommend you get this one. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Alright, so here is how the Emerson knife would ride in the pocket. Not very deep. Of course, there's a cat